I am Meg Hegemann. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am part of the preaching team here. Um, and it is an honor to be with you today. You know, once upon a time, people lived on this land. Actually, people lived more with this land. People who understood themselves to be in relationship, not only with each other, but with everything, really, that exists. Human and non-human, living and non-living, spirit and flesh. Once upon a time, and actually now, a people live in this place, faithful to and restoring an existence of dignity and grace. Jesus went to a particular time and place, to a particular people, and tried to establish a new law, which was actually a reminder of an old, ageless law of loving one another as he loved them, of considering the lilies of the field and the birds of the air, of restoring people to right relationship with each other and a community that cared for people in need. And part of me wonders if Jesus didn't go to a particular time and place because that was a particular people who had forgotten these very things. And so many who claim to be his followers forgot those very teachings so soon after his death and resurrection. And the collective Christian memory seems to have forgotten those tenets as well. Our service this morning began with the confident assertion that God meets us where we are. Yet for centuries, Christians supported the elimination of cultures, of language, of worldviews that aligned so closely with Jesus' teachings. And they did that in the name of colonization and power, presuming to take God to the heathens as if God was already there, where they were. Last Sunday was World Communion Sunday, a day when Christians around the earth are reminded that the gift of the gospel is not just for one people in one time, in one place, but for all people in all places. And we need that reminder because so many of us have forgotten. In this particular time, in this particular place, we couldn't celebrate last week, so instead we join that feast today, a weekend when in this nation we celebrate, or perhaps simply recognize, Indigenous Peoples Day. And perhaps we do well to remember the people who lived and still live in this place who never needed a reminder that they and we are connected, are in communion with one another. In Mark's gospel, things happen immediately. For us, the only things that seem to happen immediately are terrifying. Immediately, gun violence takes innocent lives. Immediately, people are brutalized for just existing. Immediately, bombs fall. Immediately, words are said that can't be taken back. Immediately, people lose their jobs, their homes, their hope. Healing takes more time, and justice takes longer. In today's reading, a man comes to Jesus asking what he must do. And Jesus starts by stating the things that he's not supposed to do. And the man says, I've avoided those things. I haven't killed anybody. Some days that feels like an accomplishment. I haven't committed adultery. I haven't committed slander. And I've honored my elders. And Jesus says, oh, there's one other thing. It's not another thing you can avoid. It's a thing that you have to do. And this is one of those that we really don't like. And by we, I mean we in the West. Because Jesus tells the young man to give up his claim to private ownership. What? What you claim as riches are goods stolen from the collective, claimed for your individual exclusive use. And if generations before you had not cared for those things, they wouldn't exist. And when you claim them as your personal, individual, exclusive things, then you cheat the generations that come after you of their full benefit. In the video of Micmac Identity, there's a young man who is talking about his culture, and he says, the very idea of wealth accumulation doesn't have any bearing in our culture. This idea of competition is also foreign. The idea of being better at something, and wealth is the outcome of being better at something, whether that's hunting or trading. He said no one would be hungry in the community because if you have meat, you share it with the community. And a slightly older man suggests that the Micmac worldview has a perspective to offer that is different than the Western/European worldview, and I would argue more perhaps in line with the words of Jesus. He says the accumulation of wealth doesn't have to be the main focus in life. There can be appreciation for other life for the moment we live now. It's a more comprehensive outlook. You're not just thinking about yourself anymore. Jesus came to establish a new law, which was really an ancient law that indigenous peoples in many, many places of the world were intimately more familiar with than those in a particular time and place. And so I wonder if Jesus didn't go to a particular community that needed to be reminded that the accumulation of wealth doesn't have to be the main focus in life. That we can consider lilies of the field and birds of the air. That there is no need to worry about the future because we can appreciate what we have now. That we don't have to only think about ourselves anymore.